There we go.
And all the things we've been doing for the last 2 years are in effect. And with that, we can open the meeting.
Well, I know Peg Stone is listening in. The first thing on the agenda we have is the 1870 Town Hall septic. Thought maybe you could give us an update, or Peg an update.
Well, Peg and I were supposed to meet this morning and look at the files, but I unfortunately had a conflict with a benefits meeting at work. So maybe Peg can kind of fill the board in on what the discussion will entail. You know, we issued a letter a while back, discussing the determining the capacity of the system and trying to resolve the existing shared system that obviously has been attempted to be brought into compliance by the abutter, but I don't think there's really been much response on that.
So thanks for letting me come. I appreciate it. So as you know, we had solicited requests on how to spend the ARPA money. And one of mine was the 1870 Town Hall. Obviously, it has the potential. Oh, no, I'm still.
Can hear you, Peg.
I was trying to get it so we could see her pretty face, but
Oh, no. Yeah, no. Chair, the video's staying off. What you can, it's that kind of hair day. But no, so 1870, it's on my ARPA list. It's been bantered around for years. What are we going to do with it? What do we can do with it, with the septic? So where 1870 truly is a revenue generating building for the town of Berlin. To me, it's in our best interest to do something. What that something is, I don't know. So I'm thinking that first steps is to get a list of potential qualified people who can come in. And as Bill was saying, if we want to keep it as a shared septic, it's going to cost $20 to do blah, blah, blah and fix it. If we want to go as a standalone system, it's going to cost $30 to fix it. And here's all the items that need to be done, and here's the cost. So obviously, this will need to go before capital planning for them to review, as all ARPA requests, as determined by our town administrator, will go through capital planning, that they cannot be left out of the equation here. So it's not a hurry up and spend the money type of mentality. So what I'm looking for is some direction from the Board of Health to offer up some potential people, companies who could come in and review all the information that Bill has, take all the history of it, take a look at it, and figure out what we can do with the septic. So that's why I'm here, is to look for a little direction of who are these magical people that we could go tap, and obviously, once they're here, what we need them to do.
Peg,
Yes, sir.
if we maybe catch up again, I'm back in town on Thursday. Excuse me. Again, we can't recommend people, but we can certainly give you 4 or 5 names of people that do
Okay.
a lot of work in the area. So
Yep.
either by phone or in person, we just catch up some Tuesday or Thursday morning. I can give you that list, and we can peek at the files.
Okay. Yeah, because honestly, it's been one of those things of, geez, we need to do something. No, we don't need to do anything. Geez, we need to do something. Boy, it would be nice if we could do something. Now we have an opportunity with some money to actually do something. And as I was sharing with Bill earlier, you know what? It could be totally cost prohibitive. We could spend, again, making up figures, $10,000 for someone to come in and do a deep dive and basically put a project plan together with deliverables, dates, costs. And that cost could be $600,000, again, making it up. Obviously, not cost effective, fiscally irresponsible, potentially for the town to pursue it. But instead of poo-pooing it away of, no, we don't need to do this, to me, I've always been a fact person. So you got to show me why we can't instead of just saying we can't.
Part of this process, if I may, is, and I think it's probably best, this is something that's best suited for the select board to take on, is we need a definitive contact with First Parish Church because we are dealing with some of their property. And this has been languishing for a couple decades. I've been around long enough to know that Franny Burke had put together a bunch of paperwork, submitted it to First Parish 15, 20 years ago, and nothing was acted on relative to defining where the system is, who owns it, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
So moving forward, we definitely need to have a firm contact or two with the First Parish who are able to, well, I don't know, probably every decision has to go through church council, but somebody who's going to latch on to this situation to help us, because they are indeed a second or third party to this.
So Paul, is the actual system on church property?
My
Yes.
understanding is the septic is, if you're facing, if you're at the general store facing First Parish Church, it's to the extreme left of First Parish Church property toward Linden, Woodward Ave, where those
Okay.
two start and stop.
By the flagpole.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty
Oh, all
much.
right. That is a good one. Okay.
Um,
Margaret
yeah.
has her hand up.
And that really needs to be confirmed as well. But that's the best information we have at this point.
Okay.
Yep. Folks, I raised my hand because I agree with what Paul said. The church needs to be in the discussion, as does the next door neighbor whose septic we share. And
Correct.
so it's definitely going to be a multi-party thing. And I just wanted to note that Bill has been very good about giving me documentation. It goes back to the 60s. So this is a 50-year situation in the making. You know, and I think this brings, maybe now is the time to be talking about it, because it's not going to get any better over time, you know. So we should probably at least begin the discussions and sorting this out and checking out what is actually needed. I agree with Peg. The 1870 is a revenue generating facility for the town. It's been carefully renovated, and it would be nice to put a septic system in that can serve its current use. So I just wanted to note that stuff. Thank you.
Yep.
So Paul, would you, again, I'm going to lean on the Board of Health to do this for process. So before Bill comes up with four or five, however many potential people to come do this, to come give a look, would you suggest getting the church involved first and then the neighbor to explain what's going on? Because if the church says, nope, not on my land, well, that is the discussion. That's pretty easy.
Well, that also raises an interesting point, Peg, that I'm not sure what First Parish's septic system is. And they may, in fact, be in need of an upgrade. So, you know, maybe there's some horse trading here that can go on, or some joint effort. You know, I wouldn't close the door to any of those possibilities.
Yeah. Margaret, while you're there, and I know you're listening intently, going to Paul's point, let's say that we're going to call it the 1870 septic, and we're going to call it the church septic. Because it's church septic, ARPA funds cannot be used for that, correct?
where the town has a vested interest, and, you know, we need more information, obviously. Just like
Yep.
Paul said, we need to understand the whole workings of this, how this even came about. But where the town has a vested interest and one of its buildings operates using that system, I think that the funding could be applied to that. So that's something we'd want to discuss with June as well. But this is something that a town building is subject to.
Okay. All right, so, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask Billy, Faith is the abutter, Billy? Is she the abutter, the neighbor? Faith
Yep,
Lynch?
16 Woodward. I think the 1870 is 12. Each has its own septic tank. I'm going to say hopefully on its own property. I don't know where the lot lines fall out there. The lines come down,
Right.
join. And as Paul described, there's a leach pit adjacent to the flagpole. The sketch in the Title V shows it about 20 feet from the flagpole to the center of the pit. So it gets tricky because, you know, the church can't really say no to addressing this issue because 1870 and Lindsay, I would say, have a legal right to use that system. It's been in use for decades. So, you know, they all need to get together and figure this out. It's going to have a pretty big legal component, I would imagine.
So is it one, Bill, is it one septic system and one giant leach field?
No, just a leach pit. Again, I can show you that when we meet. It's a simple
Okay.
sketch. It's a cylinder. You know, a leach pit is just a concrete cylinder with holes in it surrounded by crushed stone.
Well, that just sounds disgusting. All right.
It's
Most
Definitely
septics
not a
in use
ma-
are.
It's definitely
Yeah.
not a major system.
All right.
There's more of them in town than you think.
Yeah, I know. All right, what I will do, since I'm the one who brought this up and I'm not one to, you know, dump and run, is that I will reach out to probably Stan Rogalinsky, who's on finance, just because I know that he goes to the church. And ask him who else, you know, Bobby, going back to your point, I have absolutely zero doubt that this will need to go and be brought up before their council and stuff. So I'll at least get the ball going with the church and see if we can get people. And then Bill, you know, you and I can meet up and, you know, at least get the names. I can see Margaret and June like cringing that I'm going to go rogue on this. I won't, I promise you. I won't reach out to anybody until besides the church, to ask
We
them to
know
come
you
play
won't.
nicely. Uh-huh. Yeah, you know where I live. Well, so does the entire town. But, you know, obviously we're gonna want a process for this. And as you said, Margaret, it's gotta go before capital and, you know, all of that. But that was just my intention, was to come to you guys to say, we have an opportunity, a potential opportunity. If it's been kicking around for 50 years, dear God, I think we owe it to the town to try to do something. And if those are the players that I need to get in touch with, at least to start with the church, then that's what I can do, and we'll see what happens from there. So Bill, do you have like all the maps of where everything is located? What would I need the church buy-in for, actually?
Well, because the leach pit is on church property, so it's used by two buildings, but the leach area is on church property, but yet it's not used by the church. So it's a very unique situation.
Oh. Well, all right, so here's a disgusting question. Where is theirs then?
We don't know. We don't have any records of that.
Seriously.
Seriously, that's why I raised the point that they need to be included for a number of possible reasons. This could take care of a couple situations in the center that probably really do need to be addressed.
Wow.
Yeah, we have, and you know, it's gonna be important that we keep in mind that the Board of Health has jurisdiction in all of this septic stuff. So it's really good. It would really have to be a real, you know, true partnership and with lots of communication moving forward.
Okay.
We have,
All right.
we have wells involved also, excuse me. As Paul said, a lot of components such as wells.
Well, you know what, but Bobby, see, this is all the stuff that needs to be brought out. So everybody's got to
Mhm.
like open their brain and put all
Certainly.
that information in, because I don't want engineer person to come back and say, oh, it's only going to cost you $25. And then all of a sudden, as you start to get things done, it's now 50, 75, 100, and we're into a giant mess. Okay.
I think we just need to get the people involved, the potential people involved to the table so that they all understand what path we're trying to take here that can benefit all.
Yep.
And then, we cross the financial bridge. And even before the financial bridge is we need to do some, I'm going to say, in-ground discovery, because there are facts we don't know.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking, Paul, that, an engineer type person is going to sit there and they're going to fire 50 questions at everybody to say, what about? Because I guarantee you that, how Massachusetts is all laid out, that this is not a unique problem.
I can tell you, there's definitely going to be some test digging, test holes involved, tracing lines and so forth, particularly with the church, finding out what they have, making sure we know where the leaks fit. And then looking at sizing requirements that the 1870 will require in conjunction with Faith Lindsay. So, I mean, it's not a simple situation.
No, and I didn't think that it was, but you know what, again, I'd rather start the discussion and then come up with 85 reasons why we can't, because it's not fiscally responsible or it's whatever, than just to say, nope.
Yep, if there's potential ARPA funds, now is the
Yeah.
ideal time to explore this. I mean, it's very timely and we
Yep.
should go ahead full bore.
Okay, all right, so that's what I'll do. I'll just reach out to Stan, probably Peter Wheeler. I want to say he's on the council as well. And just to say, hey, I'm willing to go meet with them and just have a chat with them the same way that I had a chat with you guys about what I'm thinking and what we need to do. And then I'll get what, Bill, let me just sit on the names until I can get the church to move and then get a hold of Faith Lindsay as well. Want to be totally transparent as to what's going on. Okay.
Okay,
All right, that's all I got.
thank
Very
you,
good.
Peg.
Thanks.
Thanks, kids.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Have a good
Peg?
night.
Peg?
Yes. Yes,
Um,
Bill.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. My dog was barking. It's your call. You could get the list. It doesn't cost to call these folks and just put feelers out on availability.
Okay.
Because it might not hurt to have a consultant in mind when you're speaking to the abutters, because, if it's a go, you might already have that person lined up. It's not going to
Got it.
cost you something to have someone ready to roll, but that's up to you.
Okay. No, all right. And I'll talk to Margaret and June and the
Yes,
rest of the board on Monday as well. I told them that I was meeting with you guys and that I would come back with an update. So I will share with them and then just get their input on where we go and what to do.
yeah. And if you know when you're coming by, just shoot me a text, maybe a day's notice, so I'll make sure I have the files with me.
You got it.
All right?
All right. Thanks,
Thank you.
kids. Have a good night.
You too, Peg.
Me too now.
Hmm.
Yeah, all right. All right, Bill. Coburn Road.
Yes, we did a site visit last Thursday with Police Chief Paul, Building Inspector, myself, and owner. And did some meter readings that I've actually drafted the letter and will be sent out to all parties, kind of describing what we found. But I'd rather have that information in print to all parties involved before we discuss it.
Okay. So put it on the thing for next meeting.
It will be. The letter's drafted. Paul, I had a busy day today. I drafted every outstanding letter we have, so I'll be,
Excellent.
once
Excellent.
typed, I'll call you to bring a couple pens down. I literally locked myself in the office, no phones, no email, and cranked out about 7 letters for Berlin and a couple for Bolton, so it's done.
Very good.
Bellevue Road.
Same deal. That's one of the letters that was drafted, so we've set a date for that that hearing we discussed, and again, once signed and out, we will have that in print. And
Okay,
that'll go to all parties involved also, council on aging, police chief.
because we're running a little short on time, I think
Yes.
we're gonna reschedule the proposed regulations.
Yep.
I will set up something so that the Bob, Paul, and I, and you can review them.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, schedule the upgrade variance hearing.
Yeah, I just looked at that plan. Unfortunately, they failed to list the local variances that are necessary, so we can't really set a hearing until we have that list. I'll call the designer tomorrow. So that'll be set at a future meeting.
Yeah, all right, that brings us down to permits, Marlborough Road, and this
Well,
is where I have to do some magic, right?
Someone have a question?
Does someone have a question?
No, I thought I heard someone speak. No.
Oh. Okay, I have to share my screen. Oh, it's the wrong one. That one. Somebody.
I've got a
watch.
jealous dog now too, Billy.
Yes, someone's gonna be walking by.
Yeah. Well, I've got one was thought I was eating at the table here and he's growling at me thinking he's missing out.
Okay, so the first one we have is on Marlborough Road.
Marlborough Road, right, that's a new lot, and this actually had a permit back in 2005, but it was never acted on. So this is
Is this the Roach
yes,
lot?
it is, yeah. It's kind of on the corner where Marlborough comes off of Gates Pond.
Yes, yes.
So this had a permit, it's variance free. And I don't know if we want to see the plan up there, but it's the same lot, still variance free.
Pretty much gravel down there and it's got the land, Billy.
5+ acres. It was a 10-minute
Oh,
perk. We had loamy sand versus straight sand, but it's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
decent material.
Yep. So, what are they looking for? No variances, Billy? Just
It's
a
no
new
variances,
permit?
and this will just be a system for a new house.
Yeah, with a reserve and the whole deal, the whole.
Yeah. Yeah, it was variance free
Yeah.
back at 05, so it's really just a resubmission of that same plan.
Right.
So.
I have no
how do you Feel
problem.
about that? We just have to give Bill permission.
That would be it.
I have
Okay,
no problem.
well, I have no problem and Paul has no issues.
It's variance
Right.
free, so clear sailing.
Okay, next. It
Next,
comes up-
we've got 10A and 11A on Wilson Road. That's the 40B off of South Street. So we've got 6
Yeah.
lots approved. These are the next 2.
This is 11A.
Wilson Road off of South Street? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the 40B.
Yeah,
Beyond the school,
yep.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yep. How could I forget?
So these 2 lots are 3-bedroom proposed. They're using the fast unit to discharge more effluent on that smaller lot size, which is allowed by the state code. And again, any of the local variances that were needed were all granted under the 40B comprehensive permit. So these are pretty straightforward. It's deep dry sand, 1,500 gallon tank with a fast unit, which is fixed activated sludge treatment to give it that extra treatment. And then just 2, I think they had 34-foot leaching trenches. So pretty small systems actually too. 2 38-foot long trenches. Yep.
Right. Is that a dual compartment tank, Billy, or?
And
no?
it's not your
It's
typical
just a-
2-compartment tank, but it is 2 compartments in the sense that the effluent comes out of the house into that first compartment, then it goes into the actual treatment compartment of the tank. It's a tank that's made by the the manufacturer themselves. It comes, when they deliver it, it's all in place.
Yeah, it's like an aeration device in there.
There
Billy,
is a
what
blower,
it is?
yep. Yep.
Okay, thank you. It's straightforward, it's a pretty much done deal anyway, correct?
Yeah, again, the comprehensive permit kind of handles all the local requirements that needed waivers, and these are straight Title V systems. Yep.
Okay.
So we don't have to vote on this.
Well,
right?
again, permits are drafted. If the board has no problem, I'll sign them.
I have no problem.
No problem.
I have
with-
no,
All right, next is 12 Oak Street, a D box.
Yeah, we've got a Title V inspection report for 12 Oak Street. It's a conditional pass, needs a distribution box replacement. And this will be the permit to do that work.
Okay.
You can go ahead with that.
Yep.
So now you know how to share a screen. I'm giving Paul lessons.
Oddly enough, I'm not seeing it on my screen.
Yeah, I'm not either.
No way, really?
I didn't
But I
see any of
don't-
the plans. I
but I
figured
don't
you
need to.
could, so I wasn't worried about it, but I couldn't.
No,
I didn't see any, but that's all right.
whoops. Oh,
Well,
I take your
shared
word
them
for it.
with Paul.
I take Billy's word for it and Paul's and yours, so,
There's always hard copies available.
correct.
See, now I heard you guys all along and now we have 7 minutes to wait.
Do we want to comment on the request from Mary Arata on the voting? How do I want to say?
It's a coach, Mary Arata has asked the board, should we plan on following COVID protocols at town meeting?
Well, no, I think this is for the election voting. I
Oh,
thought,
election, okay.
whether in the COVID protocols, where people drive down around back, go in one door and come out the other, versus people pulling into the main parking lot up above and going through the building to vote. And they're looking for some input from the Board of Health in terms of if we have a preference on which way that works. Anybody have any thoughts or comments?
What
I have
any
a
other
non-
towns doing, Billy? Go ahead.
I have a non-Board of Health thought.
Yes, please.
You know, given that if this was a major general election, fall election, you know, you might want to reconsider, but I just think that the traffic, I don't think that we're going to be inundated with traffic for either the town meeting or election, to the extent that COVID traffic, you know, walking patterns would have to be established. But that's just my 2 cents. And I just want to weigh in too on the town meeting that most towns are going back to regular indoor, regularly scheduled town meetings this spring. And that's what we plan on doing so far.
Yeah, my personal opinion is that for voting, people pull into the main parking lot, go through the building, stairs or elevator down, and do like we've done for many years. And I would agree with Margaret relative to town meeting, going back inside and operating as we have in the past. I think the majority of people, even though it's still out there, majority of people are done with it, and they want to go back to normal, and I see no reason to get in the way of that right now.
I agree with that.
So I'll take it on to contact Mary myself tomorrow. And let her know.
Another quickie, if I may, does the Board of Health want to open up the take it or leave it?
Um,
It's April.
Do we have good volunteers willing, Paul, still?
As far as I know, we do.
Yeah.
I would
I
like
have no,
haven't, because I have
I
stuff.
have no problem. It's getting, it gets rid of some stuff, takes it out of the stream. I have no problem with that.
Okay, we'll pass the word on then. And we've been getting a request from an attorney's firm relative to PFAS tests and so forth.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Margaret, maybe you can comment on this, but I've come to understand that there are a lot of legal firms that are just going out trolling. So they do not have a client per se, but they're, putting a burden on various boards in various towns to come up with information. And I know there's a legal requirement as such, but this particular legal firm that's interested in the PFAS, one of the attorneys is Harold Mutton, and I was just wondering about contacting him directly. And frankly, I'll just say it the way I'm thinking, is call the dogs off, because I mean, we've got X number of houses in town, everybody's got a well, and we've never had an incident of PFAS. And that's a lot of information for us to put forward. Bill?
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
It may be wise to direct them to DEP because they're really running the testing program. If some homeowner is choosing to test for PFAS privately, we'd have no knowledge of it. So how could we report it? So anything that we would have knowledge of would be through the DEP program.
Okay.
I don't know where that stands. I've been playing phone tag, but really haven't seen anything official. But I know the clock's ticking. I think there's a deadline to get people enrolled in the program.
Yeah, I think I'm supposed to be getting back to the regional director at DEP about this.
Okay.
So I'll try to follow up on my end too.
Yeah, because they wanted the names and addresses of everyone,
Every house.
every house in Berlin.
That wouldn't be a board of health. That'd be the assessors.
Well, they
Correct.
sent it to,
Or
no, they
or
sent
the
it-
town clerk's street list.
Yeah. I mean, they wanted
Yeah.
not who tested, they wanted every address in Berlin.
Yes.
That's not board of health.
It has a well, and then if they had PFAS, they wanted to know that too. That's a lot of typing.
We could only report what we have on public record, and I have 0 tests in Berlin that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Correct.
Simple response to a public records request.
Okay,
PFAS.
anything else?
Well, just a heads up that we've been notified by DEP effective November 1st. Mattresses can and box springs can no longer go into the regular trash. We will need to have a special container. There will be grants for containers. The grants open up somewhere around April 15th. And we'll be talking with BEP initially. I don't know the disposal site. There are currently 4, and the DEP is requesting additional recommendations or companies to put forth that they will take these. But right now we have a quote of $195 from our hauler to haul the mattresses to X location, which I do not know. I need to find out, but
Right.
I've told Pete he was going to put the container below the wall. I said, no, it should be up on top so that the mattresses can be stacked and packaged as tightly as possible. Otherwise, people are just going to throw them off the wall like pickup sticks, and we're going to be hauling airspace. So he's thinking about where to put the container, and people will have to walk the mattresses in and box springs in.
Well, the state had offered us a trailer or a container a couple of years ago, Paul, but we couldn't charge over $5 or $7 per mattress, and they would take care of it. Is that still going on, or is that?
No, that really was,
That
I felt,
program
I
is
felt we were
online.
being gaslighted there a little bit. We were getting set up
I-
for some
Yeah.
unknown, so,
Yeah,
I think we've waited it out. It's gonna become mandatory, but it gives us an opportunity to be a little more organized in how we deal with it and as economical as possible.
okay,
Okay. It is
all right, that sounds good.
7:40, at which point we are going to be going into executive session. I need to take a roll call so that we can adjourn from this meeting and we can start executive session. We will not be coming back. The only reason we come back to regular session is to adjourn the meeting. And do we have anybody here who's not supposed to be here? No, we do not. Okay. Roll call first.
Sue, you just
Yeah.
need to read that part of the agenda.
Okay. Executive session, MGL, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Reason 1, to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health rather than the professional competence of an individual, or discuss the discipline or dismissal of or complaints or charges against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual. Now I'll take a roll call. Sue Rivera, aye. Vote to go into executive session. Bob Wheeler,
Aye,
thank you. Paul McCulk,
Aye.
thank you. We will now oh, and Bill, yeah.
I was gonna say good night and give the board a heads up that the next meeting is school vacation. I will not be available.
I don't know about that.
Always by cell.
All right.
good for you.
Go have a
for
good
you,
night.
Billy.
Good night, Paul. I'll give you a heads up on those letters.
Could be a teaching moment for your kids, Phil.
Yeah, they've been there.
I'm sure they have.
They've outgrown it.
Yeah.
All right, good night.
Good night.
Nice seeing you, Bill.
You too.
See you, Billy.
Okay. And now I'm gonna stop recording.
Good to see you, Margaret.
Good to see you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Joan. Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
June.
Oh,
Bye.
who would like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I will make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll second
Finish.
that motion.
All right, all in favor, I'll say
Okay.
aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Thank you. Sue? Aye. This meeting is officially adjourned.